Today I want to teach you that to read a book, even in your head, and to make it sound right, you have to consider what it's about. If you're telling your best friend bad news, your voice will sound different than if you're telling your friend about winning first place in a contest. When you know what the text is about, you can show that with your voice. Readers, when you were younger, reading meant figuring out the words on the page and saying them. But as you get older, reading means figuring out not only the words, but the actions, interactions, moods, and gestures that bring the text to life. Some of that will be spelled out by the author, but much of it requires knowing what is going on in the story. For example, read this. Now think about how you read that. What did your intonation suggest that you meant? Try reading the same word, know, again, but this time you'll know more about how to read the word because it will come in the middle of a larger text. I want you to pause the video for a second and try to read these two sentences, looking for that word know, and see how the author wants you to read it. Go ahead and pause now. Now let's try it together. My dad got my brother and me tickets to a fancy circus. My brother wasn't that excited. He said, "I don't think I'm going to go." My dad looked him in the eyes and said, "No? Really?" My brother looked unsure. He seemed to consider going to the circus after all. Then he shook his head and said, "No." Do you see how we used what's happening in the text to help figure out how to read it? When Dad said no, he said it more like a question, like, "Are you sure?" You may have noticed the question mark as a clue. You were correct to change your voice. There's uncertainty in the story, and we make our voices match that. Let's keep reading. My brother signaled that he was definite. I repeated what I'd learned. It was final. No. My dad nodded. He was fine about it. "Then no it is," he said, smiling broadly. The dog approached and tried to climb onto my dad's lap. He pushed the dog down firmly. "No," he said, and the dog left the room. Did you hear how you had to fill in the no with different voices each time, even when the word looked exactly the same? Readers, my point is that you need to understand what is going on in a story to be able to read in ways that show the full meaning. And fluent readers notice not only what is being said, but how the author is telling you to read it.